Yo guys, what is good? Welcome back to the Uncle Sharma channel here. I'm excited about this one. Probably the biggest guest I've had on my channel, I think, on my humble little channel, Mr. Carlo Garganese, former goal.com, current on the Italian football podcast, and Stefano Sensi lookalike. What is good, Carlo? Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, no, thanks for that introduction, especially calling me Stefano Sensi.
Well, no. I think I'll let the viewers decide. I reckon, I don't know, it's just my opinion, but I reckon he does have a little
Well,
Sensi.
I was as injury prone as Stefano Sensi when I was a footballer. I played a bit of football. I played semi-professionally, and I was always injured. My knees, and my ankles. They're just Achilles.
Well,
Or, I don't know what injuries does Sensi have? Is it muscle injuries? Or?
his ones is just like hardened cough and just the most innocuous things. Is no, I wouldn't even count them as proper injuries. I think he's just mentally. I think it's just more of a mental thing with him now.
Mm.
But anyway, thank you for joining me on this little preview for obviously the Inter versus Juventus in the Coppa Italia. Obviously, I mean, this match usually always has a lot of venom and rivalry, but then obviously Inter beating Juve in the last match a couple of weeks ago in the Serie A makes this even more tasty. Two legs as it is weirdly in the Coppa Italia. I don't know why they still do that. I think they should just have it a single leg, but I guess traditions keep the traditions. But what are your thoughts going into this, Carlo?
Well, it should be interesting because from what I've heard and what we've seen, it seems like both teams are going to play quite strong lineups.
Mhm.
I think from Inter's point of view, I think Antonio Conte really wants to win something. He wants to win a trophy. Obviously, the Scudetto is the big one, and that's the one that Inter should be going for. But I think he definitely wants to try and win a trophy. And I think Conte's the kind of manager, a bit like Mourinho was, that he knows that breeding winning breeds winning. Winning trophies and makes you mentally stronger, and it gives you that advantage in the big games, and when push comes to shove, that you've already won something. So I think and also he wants to, knowing that Juventus are a big rival for the title, he wants to keep that psychological advantage up that he gained, in that winning that league game a few weeks ago. So yeah, it's good to see that both teams are up for it. Obviously, I think Inter, the big disadvantage for Inter is that Lukaku is out, and Hakimi, but especially Lukaku. I think the one irreplaceable player for Inter is Lukaku, purely because um, I don't think maybe Inter are not as strong as, say, Juventus or even Milan in terms of their overall play, team
Yeah.
play, build-up play, team moves. Whereas Lukaku gives them that option that even when they're not playing well as a team, they can just knock a long ball up to him, and he can bring everyone into play, and as well as being obviously a great striker. So I
Yeah.
think that's a big loss for Inter.
Yeah, I've got the predicted lineup here on the screen. You should be able to see it. Can you see it, Carlo?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah,
Yeah, so we've got, as you said, Lukaku and Hakimi, obviously the big misses. So we've got Darmian coming in on the right hand side, and obviously Alexis Sanchez coming in for Lukaku, that kind of
mm.
midget false nine up front, two up front. So it's worked. It's worked in the past. I do like that combination because they both, they don't give a reference point. They move around all over the place. They're quicker and more agile than Lukaku. But against Sampdoria, that was the last time they both started, I think, or it might have been. I think it started against Fiorentina as well in the Coppa Italia. It didn't seem to be as good as it was in the past. What do you think? With Juve, their back line at the moment is with De Ligt returning and Chiellini resting, and
Mm.
Demiral coming in for Bonucci, according to Corriere dello Sport. I think Romeo Gresti said the same thing. So, what do you make of that Inter front line compared against the Juventus back line?
Well, we saw that in the league game a few weeks ago that obviously Chiellini was playing, but Antonio Conte, he really targeted the lack of pace at the back. Chiellini, especially in that left channel, which obviously Barella scored the second goal from. That they really targeted that little space there, and obviously Bonucci as well to a lesser extent. Two players deep in their thirties, mid 30s now. So if neither are going to play, Chiellini definitely won't play. We know De Ligt is going to play. Then that changes the dynamic of tactically a little bit. I think improvement, one tactical change that Pirlo made since that heavy defeat. I mean, let's make no mistake, Inter absolutely destroyed Juventus that game. It should have been 4-5-0. Is that I think Pirlo pushed back his defence maybe 5 to 10 yards, didn't push them up to the halfway line so much, because we know what Pirlo's system is. Pirlo's system is to do a real strong press to the halfway line, try and win the ball back as quickly as possible, and almost virtually the whole team in the opponent's half. And I think Inter really targeted the space that they were left in behind, and they destroyed Juventus. And I think maybe Pirlo realised that when you've got Chiellini and Bonucci to a lesser extent, you can't play that high. You can't play with such a high line because these players, they're too old, they're too slow to cover the space. So when De Ligt plays, I think it works better, because De Ligt for me is one of, if not the best defender in the world in terms of winning the ball high up the pitch. He's brilliant. I mean, that's the school of Ajax. They teach that. So it'll be interesting to see in this game if Juventus push up a bit more, 5-10 yards, back towards the level to the line that they were playing against Inter in the first game, and whether it works better with De Ligt and Demiral, who are obviously quicker. So that'll be an interesting tactical dynamic to see. I mean, as for Alexis and Lautaro, I mean, I'm never in the modern game now. I think it worked a lot better in the past, 20, 30 years ago. I'm never too sure about playing two really short players up front together. I think to make that work, you need to play well as a team, keep the ball, do lots of good passing, and I'm never so sure about that with Antonio Conte teams.
It's not really the style, is it? Because usually it's about the big guy, at least one big guy holding the ball up there. So it'll be interesting to see how it works. But I guess that will mean that the midfield, the runs from midfield will be even more important, because Alexis likes to drop deep, really deep sometimes. Sometimes he comes all the way back to centre midfield to find and, play with the ball. So, Arturo Vidal scored in that match in the Serie A. Obviously, the controversial kiss on the badge first. Obviously, full Arturo Vidal style. It wouldn't be Arturo if it didn't cause some controversy. And he stepped up in that game, and I'm expecting, him to be the one given the license to get into the box and try to, get in the end of crosses from the likes of Darmian and Ashley Young. Is that how you see it as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think Vidal, you've been building him up, I know, for a long time. So he's been getting too much criticism. And to be fair to him, he had an outstanding game against Juventus in that first game. Him and Barella really just completely dominated their central midfield. And I forgot what the stats were, but he made, if you ever look at his numbers, defensive numbers in that game, Vidal, they were crazy. There were like so many recoveries, interceptions, tackles, and duels won. He was, really peak Vidal in that game. So yeah, let's see if he was rested, right, at the weekend? Was Vidal rested?
Yeah, I think he got like 10-15 minutes at the end.
So that's a good omen, because I think the problem with Vidal nowadays is Vidal still tries to play the same way as if he was 25, 26. He hasn't adapted his game at all, which in a way I admire. I admire that mentally he still believes in himself so much that he still thinks he can play the same way. But sometimes he's just a little bit short. We've seen that with some of the yellow cards, red cards he's had, where he's just a little bit that second slow, and that's the age, So, but when you rest, when you have a week to rest for a game, then it makes a big difference. So, I think Vidal will definitely play better than he would have done if he'd have played at the weekend. And it's going to be exciting to see him go up against his old team again, because he'll be really up for it. He loves playing against his old teams. Vidal, he's one of those players that he gets fired up for the big matches. He relishes the big matches.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm hoping, he puts in a similar performance again. But that left-hand side this season has been, Inter's little kind of weakness or Achilles heel. And it looks like Perisic will be, dropped to the bench this match, and Ashley Young will come in. And I just, this season, I can't even I have no preference between Perisic and Ashley Young. They've both been just as bad as each other. So I can't even really, put an argument forward for Perisic starting, because they're both just as bad as each other this season. But luckily, it looks like that. It looks like Chiesa might not be starting on that right hand side. It might be, it looks like it might be McKennie who is likes to drift inside a little bit more. But I feel like he's really been one of the best signings of this Juve transfer market or the last summer. He's really taken me by surprise because I knew nothing about him, but I'm really watching out for him in this match, because similarly, as I said, to Vidal making the runs into the box, I feel like he will be the one that's has that license to make those runs for Juve, isn't it?
Yeah, he has been a surprise. I mean, I hadn't watched too much of him, but I spoke to a few of my Bundesliga friends and journalist friends, and none of them really expected much of him. They all pretty much unanimously said that Juventus is a level too high for McKennie, despite his age. One in particular, who I won't name because he's been getting so much. I tweeted out what he said, and he's been getting so much abuse. so I won't name him again. But he basically, because what worries me, and this is kind of what he said, was that Southampton were the other team that were trying to sign McKennie. It was basically out of Southampton and Juventus. So usually when you think, right, you're up against Southampton for a player, you're a little bit worried. You're thinking, well, can he really be that? I know it's a simplistic way of looking at it, but can he really be that good? We're up against Southampton, a mid-table Premier League team, and he's done really, really well. I think what he's brought to the Juventus team is a bit of energy in the midfield, because the rest of the midfielders, they're different midfielders. Ramsey's slow, Bentancur is reasonably slow. He's one that he plays casually, laid back.
Yeah.
And Arthur's busy over 5 yards. He's pretty quick over a few meters, but McKennie gives you that up and down, the stamina. He works really hard, puts in a lot of tackles, and also what he's underrated for is probably those late runs into the box as well. And he scored a few goals, and that's one thing that, I mean, you look at Juventus's midfield numbers, goal scoring numbers over the last 3-4 years, even more. I mean, terrible. They just don't get any goals from the centre midfielders. And so I'm not saying that he's going to score a lot of goals, but he has at least been chipping in and giving them a bit of a box threat from midfield. So yeah, I think he has been a surprise. Ultimately, whether he's going to be good enough for what I think Juventus should be aiming for, which is a central midfield that, let's say, good enough to challenge or win the Champions League, whether he's going to be that level, I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, he's still young. But he's definitely done enough to show that he can be part of the Juventus squad going forward. And right now is definitely worthy of a first team place with the if we look at the other midfielders Juventus have got, I think he complements Bentancur and Arthur and McKennie as the three centre mids. I think are the best choice. I think.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, it was funny because I tweeted a question to you guys at the Italian Football Pod about Arthur. The timing was so good because it was literally the day or 2 days afterwards Juve went to play the Super Coppa against Napoli, and he was like man of the match in that match. And then
it's been brilliant since three great games in a row. You positively jinxed him.
Yeah. Oh, damn it! I was like,
Frabotta, do him next.
Yeah, oh god, no. I'm not a miracle worker. I mean, Arthur was always, very, very talented. I was just, trying to see why he wasn't being spoken about as much in terms of, play time.
Right.
And,
yeah, no, absolutely right. He wasn't. He was compared to Vidal anyway.
Yeah, I mean, me and Nima, there's one thing we've been arguing about the start of the season is by me defending Vidal in our little group chat and him completely attacking him. But yeah, I mean, finally he's coming through Vidal. But Cuadrado is one guy I want to talk about because he seems to be like opinion splitting player for Juve fans. But from an Inter fans point of view, like we hate him in terms of as like a person because he's always like doing
diving.
Dirty tackles, and he's had a bit of history in the past. He had that scuffle with Perisic in the past one time, and he turns into like prime Ronaldinho against Inter as well. So I was happy that last time round he wasn't playing, but this time round he's going to be starting. What's your view on Cuadrado?
No, I like him. I think especially for Pirlo's system now, which is I mean, it's a 3-5-2/3-2-5 really in attacking phases. I mean, I know it's always written down as 4-4-2 on the match graphics, but it is going forward. It's a 3-2-5. So Cuadrado, has the license to push right up as a right winger, but he's also tactically very, very versatile because when they drop into a 4-man backline in defensive phases, he's able to play as the right back, and I think he's
that's another reason.
Tactically, he's very good for the system, but I also think he's somewhat underrated by Juventus fans. He gets a lot of stick from Juventus fans, but he's very, very important in modern football. Being able to break the line is so crucial, and he can do that in any area of the pitch. In defence, he can just do a little drop of the shoulder or just make himself a yard to get out, which is crucial. But also going forward, his output is great. He's got 10 assists or 11 assists this season.
Yeah, it's mad.
He's got more assists than anyone in the Champions League this season for Juventus. I mean, those are crazy numbers. Those are elite numbers. And yes, his decision making isn't always great. His crossing is not always that great. But the thing is, because he's such a great line breaker, such a great dribbler, still got that pace, even though he's going to be 33 in a few months. He gets himself into the position so many times that, even if he only gets 50% or 33% of his crosses right, he's still going to make assists and make goals and score goals. So I think he's a very, very important player for Juventus.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's I watched the wrong matches or not, because whenever I watch him play, he's really good. So I don't even know why Juve fans are always complaining about him. It seems like whenever I tune in to watch Juve, he's, as you said, he's still those first 3 or 4 yards, he always beats the guy. Like, he always manages to get the cross in. I guess similarly to Perisic, but Perisic's cross usually doesn't really connect with anyone. But Cuadrado, I mean, those assist numbers are crazy. So I'm worried about Cuadrado versus Ashley Young, and with Danilo helping him out on that right hand side if he drifts up. So I'm worried about that left hand side as usual. But it looks like there won't be any Kolarov to back up Ashley Young. It looks like it will be Bastoni, which gives Inter fans a lot more reassurance. So it looks like it looks like the starting 11 pretty much from Inter. I think, as you said, Conte is going for a title. Is not. He's alluded to saying that he's focusing on Campionato, but the lineup here proves that he wants the Coppa Italia. I want the Coppa Italia. I don't really get Inter fans who say or kind of look down on the competition, because there's been 10 long years without trophies. I want something. I'm not one of those guys who'd be like, oh, I don't care, it's the Coppa Italia. So we're definitely going for it. Juve's lineup is also looking pretty strong. It looks like it could be Kulusevski up front with the Cristiano Ronaldo. What do you make of that?
Well, we're talking right now just as the transfer window is just about to shut in an hour or so in Italy, and I've thought all along that Juventus really need to buy another forward, because they're very, very short on attackers. They've basically got Ronaldo, Morata, and Dybala, 3 natural centre forwards for 2 positions. And, when you consider that there's just an absolutely insane number of games still to be played in the next 3.5 months before the season ends. There's like, how many Serie A games? 19, 20?
Yeah, so
like
20.
Another 19 games, I think, for Juventus in Serie A.
Yeah.
Plus potentially another 3 in the Coppa Italia. That's 22. Plus, another potential 7 in the Champions League. I mean, I don't think Juventus will get to the final, but you never know. So we're looking at 29. You're looking at 29 games in the space of 3.5 months. So, plus 3 games in the international break at the end of March as well. So you're looking at 32 games in the next 3 and a bit. You're looking at basically 10 games a month almost. I mean, that's absolutely crazy numbers of matches to play, and to rely on 3 players to play, and Dybala's injured as well and had physical problems all season. To rely on 3 is too much. So now obviously Kulusevski's been drafted in as a makeshift centre forward, and I actually think he's done pretty well there. But I think he's played better as a makeshift centre forward than he has done in the other roles he's played, including as a trequartista, which he says is his preferred role, and definitely is as a wing back, which he really struggled in. If you think of the Roma game that Juventus drew, he played there and really struggled. So yeah, I think he's done well. I think he was actually probably Juventus' best player when he came on against Inter a few weeks ago. Not that there was a very high bar for him. So, but
Yeah.
I don't have worries about Kulusevski. I think he's not quite done it this season. He's been very inconsistent. Hasn't quite reached the levels, but he's young, 20 years old, and I've no doubt that he's going to be an excellent player. I don't have any worries about him.
No, I was gutted when Juve signed them because Inter was strongly linked with him, and I thought he's like the perfect prototype of a Conte type player. He's physical, absolute machine, can run all day, can play a variety of positions. So I thought he was custom made for Conte, but ended up going to Juve. So I was gutted about him going to Juve more than I was Tonali going to Milan, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
well, Tonali hasn't worked out too well. And I built him up quite a lot because I watched a lot of Brescia last season. I thought he was outstanding, and I thought but he's every time I watch him for Milan, he's disappointed me, to be honest. But he's still young. He's still young himself, and he's got a lot of talent. So I definitely wouldn't be writing him off.
Yeah. Well, we haven't got Carlo for too long. He's a busy man, so I'm gonna get through to some of the viewer questions we've got. I'm guessing this is Nima. First time, long time. How come your fingers are freakishly long? So the Swedish guy with the sausage fingers from the Greg sausage fingers piping up. So hope you're doing good, Nima, out there in Gothenburg.
He was pushing for Destro for the Nazionale earlier, so don't want to listen to anything he said.
Yeah. His ideal midfield of what was it? Gagliardini, Cristante, Verratti. That was his dream 4-3-3 midfield.
Oh, God.
Well, we got Palm here who asked question for Carlo. Thoughts on the Rovella signing? Should Juve have pushed harder for Brian Reynolds?
Well, I'll be totally honest with you on Brian Reynolds. I have seen very little of him, just little clips. So I honestly don't know enough about him to say how good he can be. I think Juventus do need a long-term right wing back because Quadrado is getting on now. As for Rovella, I've liked what I've seen of him. I've only seen a few games for him for Genoa, but deep line midfielder who good on the ball, comfortable on the ball, good numbers, passing numbers. I was looking at some of his stats. I know stats are not everything, but they are important nowadays, increasingly metrics. And his numbers at Primavera level are absolutely miles ahead of anyone else. He's just like he's on a complete another level in terms of his passing stats, his number of passing accuracy, key passes, chances created from midfield, breaking the lines, all that kind of stuff. All the key metrics that when you're buying a player you look at, he's way ahead of everyone else at Primavera level. So at his age group, he's obviously an exceptional talent.
Yeah, well, it looked like a bit of a fictitious plusvalenza. I saw that deal that someone tweeted out, like it was around, ended up costing like 30 million in total, and then somehow Portanova and one other youth player somehow ended up being valued around the same amount of money.
I'm sure that's part of it as well.
Yeah.
Genoa, they've been doing it for years, and they used to do it with Galliani and Preziosi back in the day as well. They used to value ridiculous players. Milan buying.
I mean, we did it last year with the Pinamonti. We somehow sold him for 18 million, but then we had to buy him straight back for 19 the season after.
The accountancy tricks that Italian clubs will go through now, and it's only going to get worse with the pandemic as well.
We got another question from Palm here, another one for you, Carlo. Did you want Scamacca at Juve, considering a straight start to the season, young age, and the glimpses?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I think, as I said before, I think Juventus did need, even with Kulusevski doing well, Juventus did really need another forward. Whether Scamacca, I think if they could have got him on a loan with an option to buy, then yes, definitely. The problem is that Sassuolo were asking for an obligation to buy, and they were quoting like 25 million, and at that price, absolutely no chance, no way. There's just you just don't do that. Not for Scamacca, he hasn't shown enough. I think he's a good player, but you don't pay, not for 25 million. So for that reason, no, I think you're better off going with Kulusevski. But I do think that Juventus should have signed a fourth striker. Absolutely, they might regret that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't think he's shown, as you said. Yeah, I don't know how many goals he's even scored. Like, he's only scored like 5 goals, has he?
I think 6. I think 5 or 6.
Yeah. So yeah, there's very inflated evaluation. So not too much of a loss, I think. Question was this? Oh yeah. So you can answer this one as well. How would we cope with the Hakimi and Lukaku? I guess we touched on it before. I think it's just the fact that obviously we don't have the same pace on the counter attack now. With Hakimi, obviously one of the quickest, if not the quickest player in the league, and Lukaku as well. Once he gets some open space, he's deadly. So we'll have to play a bit more of a patient game, I think. More, try to sit back a bit deeper and just try to be a bit more patient. I think that will be the key. What do you think, Carlo?
Yeah, it'll be a different game, as we were saying tactically. Without the pace of those two, they won't be able to target Juventus like they did, and I think Juventus will be, they'll be ready for it this time as well. With Lukaku, I would also make a similar point to Juventus that I know it wasn't possible for Inter because of their financial troubles that they couldn't go out and buy players. But I think like Juventus, they're missing a fourth striker, they're missing a fourth forward because even worse than Juventus actually, because Juventus have really, when Dybala's fit, have got 3 top forwards, even though he's been playing badly this season. Whereas Inter have got Lukaku and Lautaro, and then Sanchez, where I think that's quite a bit of a drop off to the third. And then there's no one else. I mean, there's Perisic, that can't Monti, which is just no. So I think that Inter could have done with someone, and I don't think it will be as much of a problem for Inter because in the long run, because they're out of Europe, they're going to be playing once a week, and it won't be an issue. But it will be an issue if Lukaku is out. Obviously, he's out for one game. If Lukaku was to be out for say a month and a half, not having someone that can come in and do that kind of role, which is why I was actually in favour of the Dzeko-Alexis swap, purely because I think that if Lukaku was out, Dzeko would have been, ideal to come in and do more of the Lukaku role.
Yeah.
But that would have created another problem in that they wouldn't have had anyone to come in to do the Lautaro role. So one step forward, one step back. But that's my one worry about Inter, that the rest of the season, if Lukaku gets injured. But he doesn't get many injuries. I'm not trying to jinx it. Nimmer accused me of trying to jinx it when I say this, but Lukaku's injury record over the last 3 or 4 years has been amazing. Like he just barely, I think he's never missed more than a week out at one time in the last 3 years or something. So yeah, he's quite a strong guy.
Yeah, I think the last time he got injured was when he took a free kick against Shakhtar. I don't think he's taken a free kick since. We've got a few more questions there. Thoughts on rumors that Kolarov might be starting? Oh, I don't even want to talk about that.
Yes,
please. is just please no. And if he does start, then there's definitely no clean sheet for Inter. It's just been a bad transfer, that one. I can't defend that one. He's just.
How many? Has he got a year? When's his contract expiring? Is it next year?
Yeah, I think he's signing him on a two-year contract.
Good.
Yeah, but we'll probably, from how things are going, I reckon they will probably, sign what did they do? Like release him and whatever, because he probably has no residual value in the books anyway. Well, so we've got. I guess he's answered that one about Scamacca. Oh yeah, this one. February fixtures are scary. Milan is hoping to increase the gap, play against the likes. Yeah, so Milan's fixture list is kind of a bit easier this month compared to Inter's. Let me just share my screen a moment. I've got the fixtures on a tweet here from Inter. Here we are. Can you see it, Carlo?
Yeah. So
we got Juventus tomorrow, and then Fiorentina straight away on Friday. So just 2 days of rest, and then again next Tuesday the second leg, and then after that Sunday we got Lazio, and then Milan derby, and then finally some easier match against Genoa. So what do you make of that as a fixture that's a very difficult February, isn't it, for Inter?
Yeah. This could be a key month. I think if Inter can be top of the table at the end of this month, then you really make them favourites, definitely, for the Scudetto, because once at the end of February, beginning of March comes along, Milan and Juventus, even if Milan are going to be playing reserves in the Europa League, which they may do, they're going to be in Europe. That's going to take a lot out of them, whereas Inter are already top, and with the 1 week between games is big month for Inter to stamp their mark on the title race.
Yeah, no, it'll be very important. So we'll be watching very closely this month for Interisti. It will be one of those make or break months where we'll look back and say this is where we won the Scudetto, lost the Scudetto. Nima just correcting us, it was Benassi. Sorry, Nima, it wasn't Cristante, it was Benassi. Sorry, it got easy. It was even worse than I said it was. What's your opinion on Bastoni, Carlo? Many Italian football fans, well, Milan fans, are saying he's not all that.
Well, I've already upset Milan fans by saying that for me, already at his age, Bastoni, he's 21 now, isn't he, Bastoni?
Yeah.
Already at 21, he's a better player for me than Romagnoli. I was discussing the options for the Italy national team because, Acerbi definitely is going to be for me. He's going to be the first choice left centre back for Italy in the Euros. But then there's the question mark. Chiellini, do you take him? For me, it's a bit too much of a risk with his physical problems. I mean, the guy gets injured all the time. I know he's had a few games now, the first time in like a season and a half without getting injured. So I think it's too much of a risk to take Chiellini. So then you're looking at out of Bastoni and Romagnoli for the backup position in there. For me, you take Bastoni. I take Bastoni because my problem with Romagnoli is he's just slow on the turn. When he has players running at him and making him turn around, he's in trouble. I think he's outstanding. I think Romagnoli's better than Bastoni at defending his box. I think Romagnoli's excellent at defending his box. But that isn't modern football. Unfortunately, you don't defend your box much anymore. Not the top teams don't anyway because they push high up the pitch. So Bastoni. The thing that really stands out Bastoni is how good he is on the board. His distribution is outstanding. We saw that with the Barella goal with his pass. Which he definitely meant, by the way. I saw some people saying it was a fluke. Like, no, he meant that. And he's so cool on the ball. But also, like we were saying with Cuadrado, that ability to break the first line of the press to get the team out, which is so important. It's so important. That's how the game's changed now. Defenders are not. It's not just about defending. It's even more about breaking that first line and being able to use the ball. And for me, Bastoni is already close to elite with his distribution of the ball. Of course, he can still improve defensive side of the game, but I think he has recently. I think he's against Juventus. He was really, really good defensively as well. I think he's shown some good improvements, and hopefully Conte will help in that as well.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. Yeah, that is pretty much spot on, that comparison with Bastoni and Romagnoli. I completely agree. Not that I don't rate Romagnoli, I like him, especially I think in a 3 at the back formation. I think he'd be more protected and be even better. But yeah, I think you're right. For Italy, I definitely prefer Bastoni in the summer. But yeah, Carlo, I don't want to keep you for too long. I know you have to leave, but thank you very much for coming on and sharing your expert knowledge and annoying Nima a little bit.
Always a pleasure. It's worth it just to annoy Nima.
Yeah. Just before you leave, give us your match prediction.
Match prediction. I'm gonna say 1-1. I'm gonna say 1-1. I think it will be it will be closer this time because of Lukaku being out and Hakimi as well. But certainly Lukaku being out will definitely blunt Inter's attack, and I think that Juventus will be a lot more ready for Inter. So I can see 1-1, and then it all goes down to the second leg where Lukaku, will he be back or won't he be back? That's the big question, won't he? Because of the whole Zlatan thing and what happens with that. So that could be key in deciding really who goes through. I think the outcome of that decision of Lukaku, whether he gets an extra ban, may even decide the tie. I think it'll be close. I think this tie.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm spot on. But thank you, Carlo. Thank you for coming on. And everyone make sure to check out Carlo on Twitter and the Italian Football Podcast. Any few words you want to say about the podcast, bro?
Yeah, no, it's we kicked it off. Me, Nima Tavali, and John Solano, based Roma Press. We kicked it off in September, October properly, and we're having a great time. We do we do 2 shows minimum every week. We do a Monday review show. We just recorded it before this actually. We did a little review of the transfer market winners and losers, and we usually review the Monday the weekend action on a Monday, and then usually on a Wednesday or Thursday, usually a Thursday, we do an interview with someone from the Calcio world, and we've had some really great guests from Calcio. We've been really fortunate and honoured to interview the likes of Sven-Göran Eriksson, Roy Hodgson, people from outside the football world as well. The boxer, former world boxing champion Pauli Malignaggi. Actually, ahead of the Milan derby in 2 weeks, we've got Mark Haitley coming on, who was a Milan player in the 1980s and scored one of the most, if not the most famous derby goal ever, which was a header that he scored where he leapt above Fulvio Collovati, which it got immortalised, that goal in a banner that the Milan fans made a few years ago, and he's going to be on and tell us that story and some others. So yeah, it's just been really enjoying it, and anyone wants to listen to it, just go on to the Italian Football Podcast. You can see the link in my bio on my Twitter account.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. Yeah, I definitely recommend it. I'm a Patreon on that as well, so very much worth the £3 a month subscription.
Yeah, thanks, man. We'll definitely have you on as well. 1 week when we're looking to bully Nima, we'll bring you on.
All right, thank you, Carlo, man. Take care, and we'll catch up after the match.
Thanks. All the best, guys.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Let me. I'm just going to continue with a few more questions because we didn't get enough time to get all of the questions for Carlo because he has to leave. So he actually stayed a little bit longer than I think he was planning. But I'll just continue with a few more questions because obviously I don't want to leave anyone out. All my supporters and the people that are watching. Big game for Lautaro. Liam says, yeah, man. He became a father today, and we know Inter fans when they have a baby, a newborn baby, it seems like they go on a new level. We saw it with Marcelo Brozovic once he became a dad a couple of years back. We saw actually Barella after he had his third baby against Juve. He had like the best match I think he's ever had at Inter until now. Skriniar as well, recently became a father, and he's turned his fortunes around. So Lautaro, this might be your chance, mate, to become, people have been calling you the new Aguero, the new Tevez. This could be the chance now to, make a name for yourself and become the elite striker that everyone can see that potential for Lautaro. And then, one of these nights, this is where we need to see him step up, especially in the absence of Lukaku, because we always see it's either Lukaku or Lautaro. Usually it's difficult to see both of them playing, especially this season. It seems like it's either one guy or the other guy. It's never been both, even if they both score. So yeah, we're definitely looking at, Lautaro very closely tomorrow. I think Juventus has a better squad than Inter. I guess that would have been a good question for Carlo, but I think, I've said since the start of the season, that's why, I think they're still the favourites for the Scudetto. I think overall the squad is a better squad. They have so many options for each position. Just looking at, like the left back position where we're struggling to even find a proper player for that position. They've got Alexandro, Danilo also plays there fine. Frabotta he's not great, but he still seems to be able to do a job. And then everywhere else, maybe the midfield is the weakest part, as the flow here is asked. The midfield is probably a little bit weaker than Inter in terms of qualitatively it's probably there. Arthur is a very top class midfielder from Barcelona, but Bentancur, as Carlo said, athletically he's not quite there. Rabiot, he's got all round game, but is he at that level? Barella is already proven to be this season definitely the best midfielder in this league in terms of form this year, without a doubt. Brozovic, he can be inconsistent, but as he proved in the Juve game a couple of weeks back, he outplayed Bentancur and Rabiot. And Vidal on his day, maybe he's not as good as he used to be. He's definitely still got that in his bag. And obviously we got Stefano Sensi, when he is fit, he's a top quality player as well. And obviously there's a bit of a drop down when it comes to Gagliardini and Vecino, but Juve's midfield is definitely like the weakness compared to the rest of the squad. But, still overall, I think their squad is a little bit better. Keeper-wise, obviously, Szczesny is up there with the Donnarumma being the best goalkeeper in the Serie A for me. Whereas, Handanovic, we've seen he's had a massive drop-off, and they've got Buffon as their number 2, which should be basically the role that Handanovic should be playing now. He should be the number 2 to someone else. Buffon is still a great number 2 to have, but definitely not a number 1. So that's the role that Handanovic should be playing. So yeah, overall, for me, Juve is still a better team. Brady, my guy from Canada, Brad Jeet, he says, thoughts on San Danilo coming back from injury in this crucial month? Yeah, man, we need him. Everyone's back now. Vecino's back. He needs obviously minutes in his legs, but San Danilo, against Udinese, I can just see, a game like that where we can't break down the defense, a set piece, or one of those trademark late runs at the back post. He could have been so important there. He could have, nicked a late goal or created some, ruckus in that box. It won a penalty, something. This guy just knows how to create, opportunities and some trouble in the opposition box. Even though I think he's not going to play as a wing back anymore. Even last year, I was surprised he was playing there because that pace is not there anymore at all now. But as a centre back now, I think he's a great backup to have, and I hope he can come back soon because we really need him in this February, and crazy February coming up. Thoughts on AC Milan getting penalties over penalties? I mean, the number of penalties they gain is absolutely crazy. Like, you can't. It's a madness. It's a mad thing. Like, you can't even deny that. But objectively speaking, not speaking as an Inter fan or as a salty person, when you go look back at each penalty they got, there's not one penalty where you're like, that was a controversial, that should have not been a penalty. Maybe there's one or two that are quite soft, like the one they got against Cagliari, Zlatan getting, shoved in the back, but Zlatan, he's like, weighs 90 kilograms, 6'4" player. So, but most of them, I think it was 15 penalties they've got or something. I struggle to find any of those one penalty that shouldn't be given. So credit where it's due. They get in the box, create trouble, and teams seem to be panicking against them, and they just throw their arms all over the place and get handballs, or they try to do stupid tackles. And that's the thing, they've got players like Leao, Ibrahimovic, these guys try and, dribble and create situations that maybe our players don't do enough. So, at some point, these penalties will stop. They can't continue on this average of getting penalties every match. So, we saw that with Lazio last year. They were on a similar level of getting so many penalties, and at one point the penalties stopped and the points stopped coming for them as well. Immobile's goals didn't dry up, but they slowed down a little bit. So yeah, let's see where it goes with Milan. And then my guy Naj had a great question that would have been good. I'll ask Carlo to answer this one on Twitter. Actually, it would have been good to ask him at the beginning, but we just kind of ran out of time. But I'll get Carlo to answer that question. But for me, that's an interesting one. Let me just share my screen if you're still there, Naj. But I think it's still an interesting question to ask. Let's do it by the squads that are actually available for tomorrow's match. So by going off the predicted lineups for both teams. So in goal, obviously, there's no argument, is there? Szczesny has to go in goal, even though probably Buffon will start in goal tomorrow. You probably even take Buffon over Handanovic at this point, because that's how bad Handanovic's drop-off has been over the last season or so, unfortunately for Handanovic. What formation shall we go for? Shall we go for a Conte, just a Conte 3-5-2? Yeah, let's go for a Conte 3-5-2 in terms of at the back. So I think I'm going to go off form on these one. I'm not going to go off reputation or, what people are known for. I'm going to go off this season's form. So I've left centre back has to be Bastoni, who's up there for one of the best centre backs in the whole league this year in terms of form. Left-footed, he's perfect for that role. So Bastoni definitely in that left centre back position. Chiellini's just been too injury prone, and he's not been there enough this season for me to put him in there. But on his day, Chiellini's still top quality centre back. And then in the middle, I'm still probably. I think we have to find a space for De Ligt, even though he has missed a few matches this season. But that does kind of go against my point about form, because he has missed a lot of matches this season. You can't. Bonucci can't go in there. Come on, man. Bonucci, even though Juve have the best defense in the league and he has been, playing every single match, Bonucci is a liability nowadays. So I'll have to put. I think I'll put Skriniar in the middle, Bastoni on the left, and then Danilo, their right back, Danilo, as the right centre back, because that's the position he kind of plays in this Pirlo system, where it says it's a 4-4-2 with him playing right back most of the time, but usually he's the one that plays that right centre back position over 3 and stays back a little bit more. And his form, you can ask Juve fans, he's been one of the best players of the season. Moving on to midfield, as we said, this is Juve's weakest part, definitely. This is where I think Inter's players come in and win some spots in there. In the 3-5-2 as the regista, I would put Brozovic in there ahead of the others, definitely. And then I would definitely Barella is obviously guaranteed. I'm not hearing anything from Juve fans. Barella and Brozovic are in there. You can argue the Brozovic one. You could argue Arthur, definitely. He's a very technical player, lovely player to watch. 5-10 yard passes. He might be one of the best players in the world, but can he offer more in terms of longer passes, interceptions, the defensive side of the game? I don't think so. And he's only really recently started to win that spot in the Juve squad. So I would definitely have Brozovic over Arthur, Brozovic and Barella in midfield. And then for that third centre mid spot, I have to give it to McKennie. As I said to Carlo, I think he's been one of the surprises of the season for me. He is kind of similar to Vidal in terms of he's that box to box midfielder who offers a bit of everything, athleticism, which Vidal doesn't offer as much anymore, obviously due to his age. He's supposed to be more of a defensive player in theory, but he's shown that this season he's able to provide, runs into the box, late runs into the box, headed goals, from set pieces, just all-round ability. So Brozovic, Barella, McKennie midfield for me. And then obviously now we go on to the wing back positions. Obviously right wing back. Come on, guys. I know Cuadrado has loads of assists this year, and he is a dangerous player, and he's probably gonna be a pain in the ass tomorrow. But Achraf Hakimi has to be there. But as I said, this is on the players that are available in that match tomorrow. So if it was, if Hakimi was available, obviously it would be Hakimi at right wing back. But between Darmian and Cuadrado, obviously we have to go for Cuadrado there. I know Darmian has been good since he's come to Inter, but between Darmian and Cuadrado, I have to go for Cuadrado. And then on the left wing back position, Alexandro obviously would be normally that position over Ashley Young. Easy for Alexandro, but he's had a lot of injury issues as well. So I'll put Chiesa there, even though it's not really his position. Is a little bit cheating, I would say. I would put Chiesa there just because depending on the squads we have over Perisic as well. Chiesa in that position, and then up front, obviously, you could say he's declining, but still, Cristiano Ronaldo, Penaldo, whatever you want to call him, he's still elite, man. We can't beat this guy. He just can't stop scoring. All-time top scorer, or if you want to believe what the stats say, or if you want to believe what some Czech people say. But Cristiano Ronaldo is up to be up there ahead of Lautaro Martinez. But the other spot has to go to Romelu Lukaku, obviously. So overall, it's pretty balanced. So we've got Szczesny in goal, I said. Bastoni and Skriniar in the middle, and then Danilo. So we've got two Juventus players, two Inter players at the back, and then midfield is primarily Inter players with Brozovic, Barella, and then McKennie. So only one in there, and then wing backs. Juventus win that just because Hakimi is not there for this match, and then 1 for the striker. So in this one, I give it slightly over to Juventus in terms of combined 11. What are your thoughts, guys? Let me know your thoughts on that one. Let me stop sharing my screen. Oh, he's still there, of course. Dennis says Bastoni, De Ligt, De Vrij. I don't know. De Ligt, as I said, in theory, he's the one. He's probably one of the best centre backs in the whole league. But he's had injury issues this year. He's not been there for a while, and he's only coming back for this match after injury. So that's why I've put in. And De Vrij, I think he had a little bit of a drop off this year at the beginning compared to Skriniar. He had COVID at the beginning, but I think since then he's been very consistent, Skriniar, and he scored those couple of goals as well. So for me this season, I just put Skriniar slightly ahead of De Vrij. Just a personal opinion. I don't think there's too much in it. I respect your opinion. There is not much in it. I think I'd be fine with that back line there. Mohamed, the problem is if Milan's penalties are right or wrong, why the rest of the team getting the same treatment? Yeah, that's the thing. But that's not Milan's fault. That's the refereeing fault. You have to have the same meter of judgment for everyone. You can't. Yeah, the penalties Milan are getting. Why aren't we getting those? But that's the level of refereeing. That's the question we need to be asking the FIGC, the people that the referees are looking after. So there's definitely some help given to Milan, but I'm not really one for Alex Jones conspiracy theories. But there's definitely a difference in between what penalties should be given and what penalties are given, and the Milan are definitely getting the benefit of the doubt on most of them. The penalties that we see, as you said, the ones that Lukaku is getting pulled left, right, and center because no one can handle him physically, but we're not getting those penalties. It's crazy. There was one against Parma where Perisic was literally like clotheslined by a defender and we got nothing, and VAR doesn't seem fit to give the penalty retrospectively, which is weird. Yeah, that penalty against Parma, the one I just mentioned. Venanzio Parrotta, Forza Inter. Yeah, man, Forza Inter for sure. Yeah, that one too, and many more. Are you leaving? Yeah, no, De Vrij, I'm saying is very close for me between De Vrij and Skriniar this season, but I would pick Skriniar this season ahead of De Vrij because De Vrij, there was that match against Parma where he had to play right centre back, which is the position that Skriniar plays, and he was flamed by. He was at fault for both of those goals from Parma. He was there was one long ball where Gervinho drifted in behind De Vrij, and then he was at fault for the second one as well. And in general, he's taken a little bit of time this season. He has looked at the beginning of the season, he looked a little bit off, but that was also due to that 3-4-1-2 system we were playing in a very high line. De Vrij is not the quickest defender, so that was punishing him at the start of the season. But as I said, I'm not saying that Skriniar is better than De Vrij. I'm just saying that on form, to me, Skriniar has been a little bit more consistent to me. But I respect your opinion on that. Yeah, Lukaku also missing tomorrow. Oh yeah, shit. What am I saying? Lukaku's out tomorrow. So when I'm talking about my combined 11, I have to put Lukaku in. So CR7. Oh, we put Lautaro in there, man. We put Lautaro in there because Dybala, he's been awful. He's been trashed this season, apart from a couple of matches. He turned out. He played well against AC Milan. Luckily for us, when they smashed Milan. But in general, Dybala's not been good. I think he's only got like 3 or 4 goals this season, and most of them come in the Champions League. So I think I'll still put in Lautaro ahead of Kulusevski and Morata because he's got more goals than Morata. Even though Morata has been a good signing for Juve, I would put, even though Lautaro, we know he's not been very clinical, but Lautaro would put in that work alongside CR7 and do all that dirty work alongside him. So yeah, sorry, I forgot that Lukaku's not there tomorrow. So I would put Lautaro instead of Lukaku up front in the combined 11. Get a few more comments in there. Yeah, I understand because of Conte's tactics. And Messi the King says Lautaro masterclass tomorrow incoming. Yeah, man. Let's speak it. Let's make it happen. Speak it out in the. Let's not be negative. I've seen a lot of negativity with Lautaro this season, and I don't know if it's just me. Maybe it is me because I feel like sometimes I defend players just because the whole fan base is against them. Like with Vidal at the start of the season, and now with the Lautaro, even with Perisic a little bit, I feel like defending him sometimes, even though there's not much there to defend. But I don't like when one player is kind of scapegoated from the fan base. But yeah, let's get behind Lautaro tomorrow. Newborn baby, hopefully gives him that boost. We need him to step up. in this absence of Lukaku. And with the Sanchez, I do like that partnership of them, that kind of false nine, partnership. But it will be difficult tomorrow with the Demiral and the De Ligt, a lot more mobile. It won't be like the Chiellini Bonucci one where you can outpace them. Those two can keep up with you on a pace-wise and keep a higher line. So it will be a very interesting match. Carlo said if 1-1 for his prediction. I'm looking at something like that as well. I think it will be a cagey match. I don't think it will be. I think it will be similar to the 2-0 match there Inter beat Juve, but I think Juve will be better this time around because obviously Pirlo will have different tactics. Then they said we can't defend Perisic, but all I'm saying is that I prefer to see Perisic rather than Ashley Young this season. Even Ashley Young was, definitely really good last year, but this year, when Ashley Young gets in an attacking position, 90% of the time he's going to pass it backwards and nothing's going to come of it. Whereas with Perisic, he's going to get past the guy, but obviously, that cross, probably nothing comes out of it, but you might end up with a corner at least. Or sometimes, he cuts in and tries to shoot or does something, he does at least something. With that Ashley Young, as soon as that ball is there, he's 1v1 against the defender. I know he's not going to do anything this season. He's just lost the the initiative to go 1v1 against the player. He's not got the explosiveness anymore. So that's why it's just literally 1% preference over Ashley Young. I'm not saying that, Perisic is this world-class player. I'm just saying, he's slightly better than Young. That's all I'm saying. He never goes. No, but he does. Like I can pull up some stats. But he does go past. He's got He's got the highest dribbling percentage completion rate in our team. So that's the little thing with Perisic. But I'm not saying that he's like beating players left, right, and center. He gets that half a yard to get a cross in. Like against Fiorentina, I think he could have been man of the match. He had two crosses that were like it should have been put in by Sanchez and Lautaro. Could have had 2 assists there. Even against Benevento, he had 7 crosses, but none of them were reached their player. But he creates a little bit of danger, if you know what I mean. Yeah, the step over without going past his man. That's the trademark Perisic move. Yeah, we need a Young masterclass. Yes, Ashley Young, please. Tomorrow, we need some English sauce coming out there. We need some fish and chip sauce coming out there. But yeah, that's it, guys. For that, I hope you enjoyed that preview with Carlo. I think it was pretty interesting. His Juve perspective, and in general, he's a Serie A expert. So it was really good to get his views. Thank you, everyone, for your comments, and make sure to leave a thumbs up if you haven't, just below, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for the post-match review of Inter Juve. Ciao and forza Inter, ragazzi, always and sempre.